Absolutely. So let's talk about Enghouse specifically. What's new for you? What are you coming to the show with this time? And how does it relate to everything that we just talked about?
So you think about that context, right? Velocity, digital everything, scale, and so on. And you think about us. We are a provider of systems. And our systems, not the great majority of them, we have areas, as Mick explained, we adopted our core capability as a software developer to offer the same type of culture and pace of evolution in our business as a business offering. But the rest of our systems, they are solid, capable, state-of-the-art, where a telco would need them to be today. So you deploy something in BSS, you deploy something in your OSS, everybody knows this. It takes months. It takes months to deploy it, to configure it, to adapt it to the needs of a particular telco, there is always some level of peculiarity in every network, in every BSS business deployment, everywhere. So moving from that world, what we see necessary for us as a next step is to take that capability that we have in those systems, group them together to be able to offer an end-to-end platform that is, for the lack of a better word, composable. So you should be able to pick and choose, configure automatically with transparent pricing. I'm a specialized IoT provider. I don't care about, heavy service assurance system that would operate across a network with millions of devices. I care about hundreds. But what I care about is to be ready in a couple of weeks, to be affordable, to have all the openness, to be able to program into it what I need. And that is what we are building into our platform. End-to-end, cloud-first, composable, and affordable. What are the downsides on that? Because there is always a balance there, right? The use cases and the functionality is going to cover the 80%. What we believe that this new partner in this ecosystem is going to need most of the times. That 80% is going to be there. If you grow and you go beyond that, and if you need something that's only unique to you because your service is special, then you'll move into the world of the big and capable and configurable type of system, and we can offer you that. Our new platform is evolving our core products offerings, which are going to stay the same for their traditional telco customer base, and make them lightweight, composable, open, API-driven, affordable, so that new entrants in the ecosystem can use them and be ready in a matter of weeks. And we will evolve that in the same way with new releases every couple of months. So that's our vision. That's the vision for our platform across all of our domains.
I agree. And I think to bring that to some practical terms, what we've already seen in areas where we have made the tradition, like in the TV area, you start to get the standardization that Val's implying with his 80%. In other words, don't try to build a custom thing that works for every single combination and permutation. Pick the core elements, the core features, standardize those. Then change not only the technology, the composable concept that Val has come up with, it's really saying I can pick and mix the various pieces. Well, that is important, that you actually build the technology that allows you for that. Cloud enablement allows you to put that on cloud or on-prem or on VMs or public or private cloud. It's pieces that interwork well together. Then you've got to wrap it with the practices, the policies, the procedures, the mindsets that allow you to create this environment that goes to market very rapidly. So I think we're starting to see that it's not just a technology evolution, but it's a process evolution, it's a mindset evolution that's necessary to get the sort of velocity, to get the sort of change that's necessary for this type of new environment.
That's a great point. That's a great point, because lots of the work that TM Forum do around the open digital architecture and the open APIs, it's not just a technology discussion. And I think that if you look at the collaboration groups within TM Forum, the operators, as they come together to co-create these environments and kind of set out what it is that they want operationally to support new technology stacks for new service models, but also simultaneously be able to maintain core business. It is this compostable, composable architecture, modular, and plug and play. But it's not just a technology option. It's kind of the mindset of how all this relates to business value and how you can create business value and new that platform we were talking about for innovation.
Since I'm stuck on examples and actual, cases, right? So we've seen a customer here at this show, right, from an emerging market where, if you think about any developed country, you have all of the infrastructure going into an industry where they build a factory and all of that. It's all done. We take it for granted, right? In their case, they have none of that. So they are leapfrogging and they are looking at private 5G, for industrial automation and connectivity in that sense. And they came to us looking at our, traditional offering. We're known for that at Enghouse. We've been doing this for a long time. And we pitched them the idea of this platform. And they explained, but that's exactly what I need. And I don't need everything that platform has. That's where composability comes into play. I need, something that's lightweight, ready to use, where I don't have to train my people for a couple of months to understand how to operate and engineer a network, but I want to keep track of it. So the core value proposition is the same. From there, I need to be able to build use cases around service assurance that integrate with all of this very well as well. And I'm maybe not interested in your billing, offering and so on, although that comes as part of the platform, but I'm going to be interested in, engineering, service assurance, and some pieces of the infrastructure portfolio you have. So if I would have this offering as an end state of our platform, I'll just go there, pick what I need, pick the deployment type that I need, whether it's hybrid, on-prem, public, whatever it may be in terms of cloud deployments, and be ready in 2 weeks.
It sounds like you've got everything that you see on an RFP list usually. They must be cloud native, must be modular, all of those like tick boxes.
I think you have to be a little bit careful because we've had modular architectures. I've been around this industry for quite some time. Modular architecture since forever. The question is, what do we do with those modular architectures? So a number of years ago, I read a book called The Innovator's Dilemma. You may be familiar with it. It was about disruptive technology. And what it said was certain industries, as they move along a path, there are points of disruption. In other words, the technology becomes good enough and the people traditionally in that sort of follow that same trajectory that they've always been on, building more and more of the same things. And we think this is a point of disruption, that actually you don't need all of the same things. Now you've got probably enough stuff. The 80% is enough for most applications. Now what's more important is velocity, composability, the ability to react and adapt in a faster moving environment. So we're actually, with the platform, we're actually taking a fork in the road. We're not following the trajectory that we have been for some time and the industry has. And we think this is something that's actually likely to be more successful, more supporting for the emerging trends.
And then closing the circle with where TM Forum is with the open APIs and open digital architectures and so on, those developments underpin everything we do in our platform, because that's how we have to build it. So it's open as well. It's not only a platform that is composable, scalable, and all of that, but it has to be programmable on its own as well for members of the ecosystem to build plugins, to build apps, to build whatever they need as part of all of this and enhance it and grow it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that, that aspects of plug and play and building things around the open API is kind of, it's one of those things that has seen a lot more a ground rush in the last sort of 5 years. It's really coming together. And I've worked for TM Forum for less than 2 years, but within that period, I've seen a mass increase in adoption of this attitude of interoperability has to be a top priority to overcome some of the classical OSS BSS problems that still exist out there. Let's not brush them under the carpet. Let's address them head on. instead of just thinking, well, we can live with all this stuff in the tangle of spaghetti that's under our operational hood, and let's concentrate on new shiny things. It's a pragmatic approach, I think, more than anything.
Exactly.
I think it's the reason that we see open source be so successful. I mean, people have recognized generally in the industry that if you try to build everything yourself, you're highly unlikely to be successful because there's just so much variance. So by open APIs, by composability, by expecting that in solutions, there will always be other partners who bring other pieces to the table that add value. If you build it with that mindset, then I think you're much more likely to be able to offer the sort of solutions that are required.
Closing the circle to grow together, much more than what we could grow in a walled garden, right? Us as a telco, us as an industry, us as a vendor, right? The same idea applies there. At the same time, we have to be cognizant of the fact that there is a certain complexity that exists in these systems, and for good reason. This industry is complex. What it does is not simple to enable it to work and function reliably. So our idea there is to hide some of that complexity into the systems that we have and know and so on, expose the 80%, as we called it here, to be able to scale and be simple to use. And the rest of it, anybody who starts today, anybody who has an IoT business, an IoT startup, and they are thinking about it, they'll be okay without the 20% until they grow to scale.
Yes. So coming back to the platform business model discussion, some of what we've been doing recently, we've been looking at other industries outside of telco that are similar. They're highly like financial services, highly regulated, very dependent on technology, dependent on a network in some instances, but may have better looking solutions for their customers and innovation and growth. And I think that some of the answers relate really heavily to what we've been talking to today about telcos can make some very pragmatic and I say simple, it might not be too simple, changes to their architectures and to the mechanisms internally, their processes, which will help them line up with the pools of opportunity for growth out there in the market, the value that's unrealized. And I think that this idea of a modular system, but with kind of real intelligence around how it's put together, is part of the answer. It's pushing them part way towards that. So it's kind of if we look outside into digital retail and financial services things, some of the answers are there, and we can bring that into telcos. And I think that attitude is maybe upon us now. We're kind of getting there where these partnership ecosystems are helping our little insular industry to stop looking in at itself and look out there into the wider world.
And connectivity has to become pragmatic and to foster all of this innovation that it's absolutely necessary. You can't do any of this without connectivity. Reliable, affordable, available, scalable, all of these keywords, right? It doesn't work otherwise. But to be able to scale, it has to become programmatic, and it has to become programmatic and easy, and to eliminate some of the barriers. If you look at some of the offerings today, right, for telcos in IoT, yes, you are a developer. Well, here is a kit. Well, the kit is a SIM card, and we offer you connectivity and so on. And from there on, call our sales team, and they'll customize something for you, so you get your business going. That's a scary proposition. If you try to do something and to start your business from, being a seed or self-funded and try to test the market and so on. And some of those ideas are necessary. So how do we eliminate that? Do we eliminate that? To your point, what do you see in retail and financial services? You can set up e-stores with a few clicks, websites with a few clicks and so on. The physical aspect of the networks is not so easily set up, obviously, because there are barriers. But why don't we as an industry expand the relationships we have at a hardware level and make those platforms available to everybody else to use and program on them and develop on them, and make the supply chain transparent? Okay, we're a telco, we can help you out. This is how much it costs. Sign it up. Here is the software. Here is the the hardware that goes with it. Here is what you need based on what we are understanding that you try and do, and go and innovate.
Right.
I think one other thought is the adoption cycle for a platform. We're not naive that Verizon is going to come along to Enghouse and sign a check and say, build me a platform tomorrow. There are certain structural things in that industry that says, the purchasing cycles are still, function by function. It may have open APIs, but it's piece by piece. But I think where we will start to see the platform itself proving and the combination of pieces is most likely in those innovative, creative environments, the verticals where someone is saying, I think I can be an expert and make some money in this area, but I need something that's going to be fast to market, fast to set up, fast to configure, simple to move, cost efficient for me. That's where we're more likely to see, in our case, more pieces of the platform start to get deployed. And also it's a testing ground for us to prove that some of these theories, some of these ideas are actually going to work in practice. So that's something from a business model introduction perspective, we're expecting to see everybody get advantage from the platform, but specifically the larger parts of the platform be adopted in these vertical areas.
Okay, so last question: what does the next 12 months hold for you guys? What's the roadmap for development? What if we're having this conversation in 12 months' time at Mobile World Congress 2024? What we'll be hearing?
I think you'll be hearing about our platform coming together and more parts of it. We're growing as Enghouse, organic through acquisition. We're building more of a footprint, a larger footprint in our stack, and we are building the platform as we speak. And certain areas of it will come along and will come live sooner. Others, they will fit into that mosaic later, but that's where we are going. Together with our traditional roadmaps and the traditional enhancements into what we have today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think on the technology side, we'll talk about much more of our portfolio actually embracing the platform concepts. And ideally, from an implementation perspective, we'll actually start to see some of these verticals that we are currently work with adopting the platform in a broader sense. In other words, more of the pieces with a view to getting that velocity, that flexibility, that time to market, and that cost efficiency for their particular segment.
Right. Okay, guys, thanks for talking to me today. Hope you have a good rest of the show.
Thank you.